Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 6. I hope you enjoyed your time exploring the world of picture books and really starting to think about not just the literary elements that make for quality children's literature, but also the visual elements. We're wrapping up that section of our learning, that learning outcome, by writing replies this Tuesday to the wordless picture books discussion, which is level 7. And I just want to pause right here before we make a transition into a new learning outcome. At the very end of the quarter, I'm still putting together this quest and all the details because it's a revision from last quarter when I taught this course. You are going to do your own awards ceremony, like we as a class. And we looked a little bit about into the Newbery Award. Now we've looked into the Caldecott. These are the top 2 awards in the book publishing industry, specifically for children's literature. One focuses primarily on literary elements. The other focuses on illustrations. So we've kind of laid the groundwork here. And I want to just give you guys a heads up that I'll start reminding us continually at this point. But by the end of the quarter, you are going to invent your own award. And for that award, you will fabricate nominations. So you'll say, this award is called, its criteria are, and here are the nominees for the award. And then you will present a winner, and there will be some more details with this. But I want you guys to start thinking ahead, as we wrap up this section, what are the books or pieces of literature, so it could be children's film too, that are coming to mind for you that you think, now with these lenses in place, these sunglasses on, that you think are worthy of some attention and maybe have been overlooked, or you want to zoom in, like, let me give an example. I've seen an example award like the best mothers in the best mother characters in literature for children. Like, it could be that nuanced and creative. I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, every week now I'll be reminding you of this coming quest, not because it's a giant quest, but just because it is one that requires a little bit of pre-brainstorming. Now, let's jump into level 8, which your original posts for level 8 are due Thursday and your replies are due Sunday. This level has us exploring our next course learning outcome, which is, quote unquote, explain the importance of diverse representation in literature for children, focusing especially on historically underrepresented people groups in the book publishing industry. Quick note. Historically underrepresented for the sake of this course does not mean that we will discuss why they are historically underrepresented or, what caused it, what should be done about it. Instead, we're just looking at a snapshot of the facts, and we are, in this literature course, we are responding to the value that is coming out of what the book publishing industry is doing right now. Let me explain a little further. The book publishing industry has acknowledged that these statistics exist, that there's like a pie graph that shows, percentage of children's book published that represent different kinds of diverse characters. And they are taking lots of different steps and implementing strategies to increase or diversify children's bookshelves. So again, we're not discussing for the sake of this literature course why that representation exists, why those representation issues exist, or exactly what should be done about them. Instead, we are just seeing, now the publishing industry is providing more representation. What is the value of that? And how do we assess the quality of this specific aspect of the literature? So you'll be exposed to some really important terms here that are historically significant in the literature field, and those are windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. There's a famous scholar who introduced those terms, and then you'll see those terms invoked by multiple different speakers and writers and whatnot. And honestly, in this discussion board, there is more than you can grapple with. So I put it into the instructions. I just want to emphasize it here. I've given you lots of links, lots of videos. You really just need to like skim it and then do the discussion board. You'll dig more deeply into it when you get to a quest that's coming next week. So know that I'm aware I've assigned more than you can do in this level, but I'm just giving you a preview of it so that next week when you need to actually do, you will be, it will feel like less work then. All right. I think that gives you kind of what you need to know with this. I would just encourage you that you get some choices to respond to different people groups and their literature, like American Indian, African American, Latinos, Latinas. This is coming from Russell's text. Asian Americans, Middle Eastern, North African, Arab writers and characters, and those with diverse abilities. As much as possible, if you can scatter your discussions, you get more exposure. So just think about that. You can scatter your original replies. You can scatter your replies to others' work. Just be strategic about that, considering yourself. You do not need to begin reading The House on Mango Street, but that is the major task for next week. This book right here by Sandra Cisneros. And technically for Sunday night, in addition to replying to the diverse book recommendations discussion, you're going to do like a pre-reading icebreaker for this book. And that requires you to be able to like view and read the cover. And then the very first chapter is 3 pages. So you need to have access to that. You can actually get this chapter, The House on Mango Street, in a PDF online, I'm sure. But just those 3 pages. So this really shouldn't take too long, like hour max, but that's the only thing else that you have going on this week for Sunday. And then we will read this book next week along with one of Russell's chapters. So that's just a little heads up on that. What else do you guys need to know? A handful of you have emailed me and let me know that you have finished the reboots, if you've received reboot cards and you're just waiting for me to reconcile that in the gradebook. That's on my to-do list. So be patient. If you have something that you have revised and and you haven't let me know, then let me know, because then it'll just add it to my to-do list if you send that via email. In the next couple of weeks, we will touch base about like how this grading mechanism is working, if it's making sense to you, if you have any questions. So just keep your eyes out for that, keep your ears out for that. And then, just for fun, I wanted you guys to know that I am starting a series, and I don't know how much it'll affect our class, but we'll just have to see how things go. I'm taking a college course through Seattle Pacific University starting tomorrow night, where I get to actually attend like 7 or 8 different lectures with famous authors and illustrators. And I don't know if you guys know this author, but for fun, I'm reading right now Gordon Korman's Ungifted, and this is a middle grade book. Like YA, young adult, but then there's middle grade, which is a new genre, or I don't know, new classification, I suppose. Anyway, it's been really interesting to read this to start reading this as a follow-up to even Charlotte's Web, and to just be able to analyze the differences in the author's choices when you consider child development and the development of the adolescent and whatnot, and to think about narrator and plot and conflict and dialogue, and just kind of the work you guys are doing is in my head, and it's tumbling around as I'm reading through Korman's text. So if I learn anything cool or enlightening from those sessions, I'll try to give that here too, because I want you guys to really just enjoy learning and have some fun. And I feel like if I get to interact with a famous author, illustrator, and I get a little nugget of something cool, I want to bring that back here. But I am reminded as I talk about this to just warn you guys that it's quite a big jump from Charlotte's Web to The House on Mango Street. It's even quite a big jump from the picture books you're reading to The House on Mango Street. This book is leveled up. And what I mean by that is I assigned it because it is problematic in terms of age appropriateness. So it forces us into a conversation where we will disagree, where we will feel like this belongs or does not belong in the hands of a child. More so, the debate is what age of child. It really agitates our idealism in terms of some of the stuff we talked about earlier, our attitudes towards children in childhood, like wanting to preserve innocence, wanting to protect children so that they can have an imaginative, playful, adventurous childhood. This story hits that, and it's explosive. And I really want to be clear that I don't have answers or unanswer that I'm trying to lead the class toward. I genuinely assigned this text because I knew we would disagree, which means that it's a very rich resource for us to potentially learn something, have our minds expanded, or, and this is perfectly appropriate, to solidify how we already feel. That's okay too. But I wanted conversation, so I just warn you up front that it's going to be a big jump. It's going to be a very different conversation from the ones we've been having, and I'm excited to see what your guys' thoughts will be around that, and I'm excited to see the ways that you will engage with each other around that conversation and show respect and challenge each other and all of that stuff. But more on that later. Have a great week.